start 8 p.m. now. Okay. Let me give a note. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. No matter where you are in the world, warm welcome to our Web3 Disruptors Week. This is our day 2 of our whole discussion week. Web3 Disruptors Week is part of our regular Disruptor Summit events. This is a global online event, which is live streamed on YouTube, VZAM, as well as Meta Bloom Metaverse. Disruptor Summit is a global influence conference brand launched by Star Consulting and the Starlabs Incubator. It aims to provide a high-quality display, sharing, and communication platform for countless disruptors in this magnificent era, paying tribute to the spirit of disruptors and promoting exchanges and cooperation between the East and the West in the blockchain world. Let's come back to the background of our Web3 Disruptors Week. We know that Web3 is the next revolution of the internet. It has huge promises to the world. In our sessions, industry pioneers and builders, investors have shared many constructive ideas on what Web3 economy would look like, what the Web3 world would look like, what paradigm shift would Web3 bring along. And also, Tom Vaz has shared his insights on what kind of currency would look like in Web3 era. And also in another session, our pioneers have discussed, shared their insights on the Web3 mindset. And today, we come to the 5th session, and we are going to focus on a very, very important aspect in Web3, that is the investment side. As we know that this is a huge time of change. So what are the lead investment institutions thinking towards this direction, and what kind of projects they are looking at, what kind of fields they are focusing their attention on? Lots of questions remain to be answered, and today in our session, our guest will answer them one by one. Before we go to the Q&A session, I would like to introduce our panel speakers. The first speaker of our session is Mr. Richard Wang. Good evening, Richard. Hi, Richard. Richard is partner at the Draper Dragon Fund. Richard has joined the DFG Dragon Fund since 2011, and he has over 20 years of business development, technical marketing, and sales management in high technology space experience. In the past several years, Mr. Richard Wang has been early investor in dozens of fintech and blockchain projects, including ePay, Sanodia, InnoDealing, VeChain, Red Pulse, for example. Later, Richard will share his insights on Web3. I think previously we have many discussions. He has many valuable insights about this field. And our next speaker is Wed Wang, partner at Buy Capital. Hi, good evening, Wed. Evening. Wed has invested in dozens of projects from the Web 2 age, and now he actually Buy Capital has a very good news yesterday. Buy Capital has raised $700 million to back Chinese companies. Congratulations, Wed. Yeah, we know that Buy Capital is a China-focused venture investment arm that was formerly known as Bertelsmann Asia Investments. And they raised after their announcement that they have raised $700 million to back Chinese companies from retail, fintech, content media, as well as Web3 and Metaverse. And they are also targeting the global companies as well. So later, I think Wed will share many of their investment logics later. Our next speaker is Mr. Michael Sang. Michael, good evening.
How's it going, Jenny?
Good.
Should be here.
Nice to see you again. Michael is partner at LucidBlue Ventures, and he's a technology venture builder and investor, having founded various companies in diverse high-tech industries, ranging from AI, blockchain, semiconductor, and new materials industries. Michael has a very, very strong background in cross-border technology transfer, strategic investment engagement, commercialization strategy, business model innovation, and high-tech entrepreneurship. Also, it's also worth mentioning that Michael has served in numerous advisory roles over the years for Hong Kong, Taiwan, and China government on international tech transfer innovation system building, AI, blockchain, and fintech policy for various top city and minister level officials. So I think Michael should have many great insights to share about his professional background as well as his insights on Web3. Welcome all of our speakers to our session today. I welcome my first question to all of you is, look, Web3 is here. Everybody and many investors and startup founders are talking about this concept. I want to know what's your view on it? Do you think the world is really transitioning to Web3 inevitably? Can we start from Richard?
Oh yes, sure. Jenny, thank you for the intro and the questions. Right, I think everybody talking about Web3 right now. However, I think it's still something not formed well. It's something not able to be defined by anyone. So I would say Web3 should be defined by every entrepreneur in the near future, right? And then we may see how it going to be. But I would say there are some basic attributes or some basic fundamental property about Web3. First of all, people say Web3 should free the data from the owner, right? So every user should have the controllability, the ownership about their own data. It's very surface, I would say. It's of course. And I believe Web3 is going to release and also revolutionize human life in the future, to build up, set out the freedom better, and also build up the trust on the foundation. If we down to the earth from investment point of view, I would say in Web3 sector, we like to look more basic infrastructure or fundamental things to be built up to support the vision, to support the application scenario, to support the future civilization that we are talking about today. So in order to build up that infrastructure, I believe there are three ways that we are focused from our fund. One is still the AI, the very simple, right? The so-called artificial intelligence. Why I mentioned that? People know about AI for years, right? But people know that AI is for certain purpose, right? However, if we talk about the internet, we don't see a lot AI there. For example, semantic internet, right? People talking about that. For example, the spatial web, people talking about that. But how we are able to create the real semantic, create the real space internet, 3D internet, right? Website. That's based on the AI. And also in the future, we also talking about smart contract. We're also talking about core is law, right? So the AI stuff is going to build up that more smartly and make sure that everything is able to pathway based on the AI. That's the first one. And second, we think the fundamental things for the Web3 is edge computing. Again, people talking about edge computing for years. What is edge computing? Actually, if we talk about the decentralized computing, actually it's edge, right? Because it's decentralized. If we talk about the internet computing, that require every people, every user, every person to bring in their computing power and contribute the whole internet, right? That's edge from different user, different node. And decentralized storage, that's edge as well, right? So edge computing, we need to expand its definition and we need to expand its usage. And it will be fundamental for Web3. Again, decentralized, right? So the Web3 need to be supported by AI, need to be supported by the edge computing, edge storage. And third one, we believe everybody talk about today, it's very easy to understand. We call it centralized data network. It means that you have the data network, right? Means the data, that's the data. And the data actually is in and out. Data in, data out from somewhere, right? And the data in out from each node. And each node actually represented by people. So if we talk about this social data network, we can apply to some application scenario like social, like gaming, like e-commerce, and also people talking about creators economic today, right? So those things is the data. So we think for Web3 investment trend, we think today we still focus on AI, edge computing, and also application based on data network. So that's what we see today.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Okay, well, can you answer this question as well?
Yeah, sure. So for us, it's very interesting. We have a very big media business already, and interestingly, right now there are over 30 NFT projects ongoing within our Blossman group, because we have TV stations, we have music copyrights, and also we have and book publishers. They are all one of the largest in the world. But the thing is, we think this is only a start of the Web3, because everybody think about Web3. Sometimes the outsiders think about Web3 as NFTs, but we think it is just a start. For us, we did like 14 years of investment in TMT space in China since 2008. So our understanding of the market is a bit of longer history. So we believe that in the last 20 years, the trend of digitalization and also virtualization has never stopped. So if you see that digitalization means, for example, the robotics, the AI, the IoT, and also the smartphone itself, it's called digitalization because they're trying to transform the physical world. So this is one trend. Another one is virtualization. Virtualization, it aims to create a totally spiritual world or create a totally new world. So it's like game, like VR, AR, and also like blockchain. So we believe like blockchain is something that is created on the code is law-based virtual product. Especially right now, we are looking at the trend that the whole blockchain is moving from the investment focus to more and more consumer focused. So that's why we are entering into this stage, trying to invest right now, because we believe that the consumer innovation is something that's really bigger than financial arbitrage and Ponzi games. So this is what we are looking at and how we are perceiving this market. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think you have raised some a very, very interesting concept, that is consumer revolution. Can you explain further about this idea, this concept?
Yeah, it's very clear. So if you look at typical consumer products like Coca-Cola, like Lululemon, the key value of these consumer products are three elements, as we believe. So the first value is they provide some kind of liberty to the customer. It is like the thing that you cannot do, the thing in the past, but now you can. For example, like Coca-Cola, they used to provide a small package of the cans to the beverage and help people to be more portable on drinking. And for Lululemon, it's like you cannot wear sports to work, but now with Lululemon, some kind of you can. And so this is the first value. The second value is actually meaning. So, for example, Lululemon provide the meaning of being socializing with other yoga practitioners. The e-cigarettes provide the meaning of you have less pollution to the environment. So meaning is very important in the second place. And the third is addiction or entertainment. So all kind of successful consumer products, they all have some kind of addiction elements. For example, alcohol, tea, coffee, game, all kind of addiction. So very interestingly, we think Web3 is perfect consumer product because it provides the liberty of transferring the assets and money. It provides the meaning of decentralization and also personal privacy protection. And also in the end, it provides addiction of you leveraging and making money from a small amount of investments. So this is very interesting mix of successful consumer product elements. But the problem is right now the infrastructure is not enough to empower that kind of fast transactions, low cost transactions on that. But we see that the merge is happening. We see the layer 2, ZK rollup EVM stuff like that, is providing opportunities for those to happen. So we foresee that in the next year or several years after today, we will see more consumer innovation in this part because of the price down, cost down, efficiency up of the infrastructures. Yeah.
Thank you. Very good explanation. Thank you. Michael, can you share your ideas on Web3 and is the world transition to Web3 quite inevitably?
Yeah, I think it's like this. In my opinion, I think Web3 has a lot of promise, but there is a lack of real sustainable business model. You can go to Decentraland or you go to Sandbox. Everybody's trying to do virtual real estate or do this and that. But ultimately, you think about the amount of people who are actually simultaneous in those worlds. I mean, I think it's like on the order of hundreds of people, right? So I believe that we are in the very nascent phases of the development of Web3. What we do as LucidBlue is to try to think about what the world is going to look like over the next decade or so. We are investing in what I call the financialization layer of the metaverse, right? Regardless of how the metaverse will play out, right? Regardless, right? There's going to be people who needs to do cross-border payments. There's going to be the NFT marketplaces, the infrastructure, and things like that. So we are very, very focused on the ability to create the critical resources to be able to invest in the translation layer of the metaverse to be able to actually do transaction, cross-border payments, NFT marketplace, the next generation digital wallets, etc. This kind of thing. So regardless of how the metaverse will play out, our thesis is that it will require interaction, right, with the social fi or whatever it is. It's going to require interaction of the digital economy, and we are invested in that space. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Yeah, Jenny, I think it's quite interesting that Michael mentioned about the business model. As an institution investor, we also concerned about this, right? Because we need to see what kind of investment are going to bring the commercial value, right? So we do see quite a lot of native Web3 entrepreneurs. They don't have a traditional business model, and we also see, like Will, right? A lot of Web2 companies, they try to bridge in their business model to the Web3 based on Web3 infrastructure or based on Web3 user base, right? So, however, I would say maybe we like to see some kind of innovative business model, some kind of business model that we never think about before, some kind of business model that we never experienced before. Maybe there's new. So, for example, people talking about the value for the crypto, the value of the token. So maybe there's a new way that we like to see, we like to explore. I think that's something that as an institution investor, we also like to look for.
Okay, thank you. Richard, you've mentioned that perhaps in a I don't know whether I'm right, but you can offer your idea. You say that we are looking for some business model that have never been seen before. So do you think that in the Web3 age, are we seeing something like that already?
Well, I would say yes, but it's not very. I would say yes. There's some kind of business model that we never seen before, right? Some people trying to create something more. For example, the title, the topic today, we say Web3 disruptor, right? So we like to see something. It's not invention, but it's a disruption. Again, we look at project. We like to see who are able to do so, right? And we like to see for traditional. We like to see what kind of pain point they solve, what kind of problem they solve, right? But we also like to see. It's the new way they are able to break the current status. They are able to break the current current value chain, right? So they can create something more. Maybe they can reduce some kind of cut something middle layer, just mill it down and create something more efficient, right? Like a black hole, something like that, right? Like swarm hole, right? To bring something together. We don't know, but we like to see that happen, and that's something we like to look for, as I mentioned. So we spend a lot of time to talk to the talents, talk to the entrepreneur, talk to those young guys. They may have some kind of think out of box idea, right? So I would say that's something we continues to explore.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Actually, this has reminded me something I've discussed with Will previously. I asked Will, because you're transitioning from investing in Web 2 space to Web 3, what kind of projects or what kind of fields is he looking at? He said that this is not his logic. So, Will, can you share some thoughts on this?
Yeah, yes, it's true, because I personally think that the H16Z's logic on the rewrite own stuff is actually bullshit. So we don't think it is a logic for Web3. Web3 is even not a web. So it is a new way of our understanding of code is law and program-based innovations. So we don't think it's about rewrite own or Facebook stuff. So it is interesting because by their definition, actually, my company, Borosman, is actually Web 1. So we're not transitioning from Web 2 to Web 3. We're actually looking at Web 3 from Web 1. So it's very interesting. But nobody can ignore that the content right now, the IP that we are looking at, we are watching on Netflix or on any other movie theaters, nothing related to Web 3 right now. So we should have some respect to the creativity industry. We should have some respect to the internet industry when we're talking about innovation that is based on the infrastructure of these creativities, infrastructures, telecommunications. So ownership is not the only thing. We do have ownership that is confirmed by capitalism like 100 or 200 years ago. We don't need that as a purpose of living. So what we're looking at Web3 is code is law is something that we think is very interesting. We're looking at the downturn of the market. We're looking at the blow up of Celsius, the blow up of 3AC, and even one of our portfolio, which is the lending company. So this tells us that this human era, these over leverage, these very low profile financial era that had happened like 100 years ago are still happening in the Web3 era. So it means that this world is actually evolving at very early stage. But it's very interesting because it has been evolved out in a very dramatic way. So in the end, we still believe in Uniswap. We believe in MakerDAO. We believe in all kinds of protocol-driven interoperability, things like that. So that's our understanding of the market. I always tell my team to believe in these protocol-driven innovation, very capital light innovation on these things. Don't invest in those financial-driven, low-profile era in this market. They may grow in a bull market, but they will die very dramatically in the bear market. So that's our standing. So when we're looking at people are giving up their rights to code more and more, we're not only giving up our rights to the Web3 world, we give up our rights on how we travel to Didi and Uber. We give up our rights to Yelp and Dianping. We give up our rights to TikTok every day, like 3 hours a day. We give up our decision-making on content consumptions to these media. So program and protocol is eating humanity in all kinds of ways. Web3 is something that we believe it is eating our humanity from a perspective of financial assets and consumption. So this is what we are looking at. So talking about rewrite own, that's very, very superficial to understand this thing. But it's a very good marketing word. But I don't think entrepreneurs should prepare their business and startups in a marketing article from a marketing article perspective.
Thank you, Michael. May I ask, what is if you want to add some thoughts on Will and Richard's opinions, please feel free to do. And also, I want to ask you one question because you're the partner of Blue you're the partner of the LucidBlue Ventures. I want to know the investment strategy of your organization, and what sectors are you looking at? What's the rationale behind?
To be honest, we were actually quite prolific in the last 2 years, right? Since the last bull run, since 2020, we invested in almost 100 different projects, early stage, that kind of thing. So we're ratcheting back a little bit, right? I feel like it's very difficult to invest in projects that's going to succeed in the long term. So we're much more judicious in the primary investments that we're doing. We're still doing that. I think our strength is what we call venture building. Contrary to a lot of the other investment funds that are on the block, right? They actually invest in something and then they try to get the blunt on. But like what we do is we do venture building, right? So in contrast to a lot of the other sort of fair weather funds, which did not perform well here, we take early checks in our companies, and then we actually do a lot to venture build the projects, right? So we are building the community. We actually do A to Z. Sometimes we actually build the whole technology stack and that kind of thing. So in the new environments, I think what we're investigating is how to actually venture build the next funds for the next cycle. Okay? So it could be a year or two before things are actually going to get like in the next cycle. So what we're going to do is we actually build the venture building, right? So we will actually do the market making, we do the community building. We're actually very active in the funds that we're doing. So we try to actually work with chains that will actually perform well in the next cycle. So that's our strategy, is to actually take a very proactive role in the next generation.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. My next question has something to do with the current market we're in. We know we're in a very bearish cycle at the moment. I want to ask, are you slowing down a little bit in your investment? If you you can share your what about that, and also if you're continue to invest, still investing, what qualities do you value when you choose an investment project? Can we start from Rachel? Richard.
Yep, sure. Right. Right. When we say the bearish market or bullish market, we are talking about a secondary market, right? But actually, as an early stage investor and also only invest in the primary market, we are not really care about that. However, the bear market status actually brings some benefit to us. For example, the variation of project is going to be lower, right? And for example, the quality of the project will be better, because in bull market, every stupid money also chasing those stupid projects, and then it will actually crush the market. So I personally like the bear market status, and with that say, we continue look at a lot of deals, and we continue to invest quite a lot of projects. However, if we compare to back first half this year, I would say maybe we invest 3 deals per month. But for now, I guess we slow down. The reason we slow down is not because bear market, is because the deal is not that hot, right? Compared before, and those deal is not tracing by so many institutions right now. So the deal quality become better, the deal amount become less, right? So I would say average wise, I think we invest 1 deal per month. So right now, and we still kind of keen to the technology based project. So not those the application project. So for example, we actually invest quite a lot of layer 1 and infrastructure project in the past couple months. And talking about the criteria, I would say it will put it the same as what we are doing in back day to investor equity deal, right? We will look at the who means the team, right? Because people always matter, right? So we like to check who is doing the things, and we like to check what means what stuff they are trying to do. As I mentioned earlier, right? What kind of pain point you're trying to solve, right? What problem you solve, or what is the new stuff, new model, new technology, whatever you want to create, and what's something that you want to break, what you want to break. So what is very important, and then we are going to evaluate how they do that, right? How they ask you what is their marketing strategy. If there are people is capable to doing so, so we still evaluate those projects from many different angles, and also do very detailed due diligence, same as the past time.
Thank you, Richard. Well, what's your can you share your ideas on this?
Yeah, interestingly, we just started to invest in this world, so we are still on an exciting space. And so we're really excited that so we don't have to get into this space at a very pricey time. So right now everything is cheap. I think last week I have my analysts trying to figure out what are the top deals of the top 10 funds in US and Europe, what they're investing, and I had a summary of those 50 deals. And I look at that and I think, wow, they're super expensive so far. And it's still in the primary market, I think, because the news and disclosures reflect the things that they invest like a quarter before. And so when we're looking at these deals, and I've compared to the Chinese founders that I met, similar projects, similar topics, we have like, we are 1/10 cheaper than them. So we're 1/10 of the price, 10% of the price they have. So I'm really excited that there's an arbitrage on the Asian founders right now, because I think the Western market are not looking at them because of the Chinese government's regulations. They find it risky. But right now, I'm actually looking at top builders right now in Asia. So our investment theme is very clear. We are going to support over 30 real builders in the Web3 in the next year from Asia. So it's clear and for our investment thesis. And we think it's a good timing because everybody is building. Nobody is, trying to make money by doing nothing. So this is something that we are excited about.
Okay, and also in terms of buy capital, what qualities do you value when you choose an investment project?
So we have 3 standards. One is the PMF, for the market fit. So the second is the quality of the founders. And the third is tokenomics. We care. Our definition of tokenomics is not token cap table. So our definition of tokenomics is that the demand for token other than speculation. So you have to, have some kind of mechanism to let the user and also the buyer think that the token is some kind of useful for either their purchase and investments. So we're looking at founders who have understanding of that in the future. For example, value capture in the DeFi sector have been proven a little bit, wrong in the past. We have seen it decreased from all-time high like 95% because all kind of tokenomics is I have to use the word bullshit again. So we are looking at the next generation of token value capture, and we think it's very important, especially in this part. Thank you.
Thank you. Just now you mentioned a concept. I'm not very clear always that you mentioned that you look at an investment project. One thing you look at is the quality of founders. Can you go further and explain that?
Yeah. So for the Asian and Chinese founders, the quality of them is to have the ability to either on the code writing and also the product development, and also on their global marketing capability. So both the project building and also storytelling are the 2 most important factors to the key success factors for them. So that are the things that we're looking at. And also very important thing is we are trying to find the founders who can be, how can I say, deluded or something. I don't know the word, just who cannot be, influenced by the articles that are, in the market, because most of the articles are always, wrong. And we want founders who understand the thing from the basics and fundamentals. So that is the person we're looking at.
Thank you. Okay, Michael, may I ask, in terms of your organization, what kind of value qualities are you looking at when you choose to invest in them?
Yeah, so we do what we call venture building. So we're looking at fundamental infrastructure.
Oh, your connection is not very stable, Michael.
We can go. So we actually have, yeah. Can you hear? Can you hear now?
Yeah, it's better now.
Yeah, so we do what we call venture building. So we're not passive investors that invest in projects and just hope to make a payday. What we do is we take a lot of the core infrastructure projects that we invest in, and we system integrate it into our strategies, and we go into different countries and we do a lot of smart cities, metaverse projects and things like that. So we're looking for core technologies that can actually move the needle, infrastructure, and then actually focus on ones that are more institutional grade, ones that can actually work with Fortune 500 companies and things like that. So, for example, we make a play in the next generation digital wallets, next generation custody solution, next generation blockchain interoperability. And then what we do is we take these companies and we system integrate them into solutions that we can actually go country by country and help to scale their business use case. So it's a little bit of a different strategy.
Hello, Michael.
I think most funds which do work to develop them into projects.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Okay, here is another question. It has something. It is kind of related with consumer revolution. I will mention just now. And actually, this concept has been mentioned time and time again in the blockchain world. The early promise of blockchain is we return the power back to individuals. And this revolution is going on, and it is expanding. More and more people are getting into this revolution. So, for example, Stephen, this Web3 project has created a lot of magic around the world. It is very, very popular among the young generation. For example, my friend in Hong Kong, previously she shows no interest at all with blockchain or digital economy thing, but she was very surprised at how popular Stephen became, how popular it is among the Hong Kong young people. And then she went to study what is DAO and what is Web3. So I think many people are attracted to enter into Web3 space because of such projects. So my next question is, do you think that we are going to see more such kind of projects like Stephen next, or from your investors' perspective, are you going to look for more such projects next? Maybe we can start from Richard.
Yeah, sure, Jenny. Well, first of all, I would say what you're just saying about a blockchain, it might not be necessary to drive those projects today, because in the end, blockchain just simply a technology to support, say, distributed ledger, right? So it's a purely a protocol play, and for those application you see today, like Stephen, right? Actually, we have the similar project in China back 3 years ago, right? They simply using this kind of protocol and create maybe you can say very innovative business model, or say tokenomics, right? And they are trying to give some reward incentive to those contributors. And I would not say it's creator, but however, for those data generator, I would say, I will name like this, data generator. I'm a data generator, and in a way, maybe I can get the reward or incentive from the data I generate. It really depends on who's going to pay for it. It really depends on who are going to pay for it. And I'm sure must be somebody is willing to pay for it. So you can create a project to connect this in a community or in an ecosystem. So you are able to make sure those data generator, for those data they generate is valuable to someone who need it or somebody who need it, whatever, right? So I would say it's not 100% like a creator economy, right? But if we talk about data generator, you can see this quite a lot in all the different scenarios. If we, again, back to the old day, we talk about IoT, right? We talk about a lot of sensor. Each devices, they generate the data. And of course, we know that data is valuable for some kind of very vertical application. So it's very straightforward, it's very clear and easy, simple, right? But however, if we talk about something for those data that people generate, for when you wake up and all the way you back to your go to bed, right? All the 24 hours, the data from a human being you generate must be valuable in a way to somebody or to some institution or to whatever, right? So again, I would see there are a lot of talent entrepreneur is able to create some project to make sure that is valuable and have a very best use case for that. And those will be based on the Web3 infra and also blockchain technology for sure. So I would say, yes, I was going to see more for sure.
Thank you, Richard. Well, what's your take?
Yes, I think there will be more applications, but in a different way. For example, when we study the market from a consumer perspective, we look at global consumer spending or Chinese consumer spending, and we see a very interesting pattern. So the addiction category usually take 1% out of the consumer spending. For example, in China, take as an example, smoking takes 2% of the consumer spending. Alcohol take 1%. Game take 0.5% to 1%. Tea takes 1%. Game take 1%, and also some illegal sex trade take 1%. So these addiction categories they add up to 7 to 10% of the consumer spending. And interestingly, most of them are related to eating and dining and consuming, food and product, digestible product. So they take around 30% of the thing that we pay for food and drinks. So it's very interesting. So when we look at, for example, gambling, legal lottery in the world take around 1% out of the total consumer spending, which is $300 billion market. So if we don't look at the market from a very value judgmental perspective, we just look at the market, legal lottery market. It is something that we believe that blockchain should disrupt because they have issues on transparency, privacy, transaction costs, all kind of problems. So we do believe that in the future, Ponzi will die. People will be more impatient with Ponzi again because we see from Step and Axie, we don't call them Ponzi, but they use Ponzi models. These Ponzi models will be, the customers and consumers will be intolerant on these Ponzi models and more in the future, especially in the bear market. But we believe innovations on gambling and lottery model will rise in the future. And it means that people will pay small amount for something that they found entertainment from that kind of randomness. So gambling is something that people will not, raise flags and shout to the founders that you're cheating on me, because people understand the mechanism. For example, for the lottery, if you pay too much for lottery, your gain will be on par with the median average rate of losing. For example, in China, the legal lottery in China take around 50% of money out of the pocket, out of the poor. Everybody knows it. Nobody will complain about it. So we believe that blockchain will be a technology to disrupt this kind of market because the publishing cost of China's illegal lottery is 30%. It is too much. So we believe blockchain technology will be something behind it. That is the first. The second is the DAO. We believe that DAO will not be any revolution to corporate structure. We believe DAO will be something disruptive to NGO and NPO. So, for example, when you're raising money from public to do public goods or public objectives, DAO structure and blockchain-based fundraising structure is the most efficient one. Actually, sometimes more transparent to be compared to those NGOs and NPOs, so-called ones. So I have once come across a DAO called Klima DAO. The price of the token has been small right now, but they have raised around over 100 million from the market to buy the carbon tokens and carbon quotas in the market. Their mission is to trying to raise the carbon price and trying to save the environment. Interesting mission. I think it's very effective. And compared to Greenpeace organization that they take 300 to 500 million money from the market, but the only thing they do actually in the world is just doing all kind of protests and flag raising thing, behavioral arts. They do nothing effective. So I think DAO structure will be something to more disruptive and interesting to the NGO and NPO rather than the corporate. And we believe, folks, so in conclusion, we believe that blockchain technology is actually attacking the key sector of public and semi-public sectors, not the commercial sectors actually. And that's why we go back to the basics, is because this market is called itself code is law. When the code is attacking the lawmaker, who are the lawmakers? The money issuers, the license of lottery issuers, the public organizations. This is the thing that blockchain will be disrupting to. So that's our perception on the consumerization of this blockchain trend.
Thank you. Well, Michael, can you share your insight on this as well? Yes, please feel free to add any thoughts if you want.
I think we're in a serious bear run right now. So the typical projects that would be very amenable in the first, in a more of a better situation would not be viable in this situation. So we were very much more looking to venture build core technologies. We're looking for fundamental technologies that can actually perform well in the next cycle. And again, we are venture building, so we actually do a lot more than the typical passive investment into the projects. We want to build a community. We want to build the tech stuff. We want to build the phase to do more, like including things like doing the liquidity market making and we're looking to use a few of the key success. So we're being much more judicious in the projects that we invest, but the ones that we do invest, we're all in.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Okay, before we wrap up, I would like to invite each of you to quickly answer one faster question. Within the next 1 year, what kind of change would we see in Web3, this whole system compared with today? Richard, can we start from you?
Well, I would say in next 1 year, I will see a lot more hard money going to this space. But in the meantime, I will also see a lot of companies going to be dead.
What you mean blockchain projects or Web3?
Web3. A lot of hard money going to Web3, and a lot of so-called Web3 startup today is going to be dead in next 1 year.
Okay, who are going to stay?
Well, we will see.
Okay, yeah. Well, what's your prediction?
I have the answer to that. I think Richard's portfolio will going to stay. Yeah, and Yeah, and my belief is that people will have more faith in digital gold because if you see the U.S. dollar retreating from all kind of developing countries, and this is something that is happening in Sri Lanka, in Turkey, these small sovereign states will suffer from the the irresponsibility of the U.S. dollar lifestyle. And I think the whole the BTC and ETH is something that's called a hedge to this kind of the poisonous US dollar lifestyle. So we will see that people will have more faith in digital gold in the next 2 years because they see tragedies and dramas all around sovereign states.
Thank you, Will. Michael, can you share? Do you think what kind of change we're going to see Web3 in the next 1 year?
I think 2022, we're seeing massive institutional adoption of digital currencies. Fortune 500 companies, JP Morgan, BlackRock, all these big entities. So to really make the institute translate into institutional use cases, the ones that would actually have, for example, the KYC, the regulatory compliance and things like that. It's a high bar, right? But the ones that will make it will the keys to keep them. The ones that will actually get institutional adoption, the ones that will be used for real trade, real remittance and things like that. So we're betting heavily on the institutionalization of digital assets and the ones that will actually make it with respect to real use cases in the real world. So we're betting heavily on those.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Thank you. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Will. And thank you, Michael. Thank you for your time. Let's keep in touch and looking forward to have you again in our future Disruptors events and share more of your insights, industry experience. Thank you very much for your time today. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
All right, take care.